Got a pretty nice day out here. It's not too hot yet. A nice cool breeze. We're down here, there's the service entrance. This is that storm ditch that I've been working on for a few weeks now. This ditch used to run all the way down here. And it was probably, like I've said before, about 3 foot wide, maybe 3 foot deep. Wasn't safe to mow on it. You could back the bush hog up to it, but you know, if you backed up too far, hit the wrong pedal, you could go in a ditch. So it really wasn't safe, and there's not a lot of water that comes through this ditch. We assume that due to the size of it, there'd be a lot of water. There really isn't. So just doing this typical little sloped area, I think this is going to work out better. The one downside is the culvert is down here. This culvert, I've had, even before I started doing this project, I had to dig this out with a backhoe from time to time to just keep it from filling up with mud. The culvert itself is sitting right at the water table. When I was digging here, the water table's just right here. You can see where the water was starting to come up. So it really never dried out. It was just, I think it was too deep. So I'm gonna have to raise this up a couple feet. Not necessarily sure if that's the right idea, but makes sense to me. So what I'm gonna eventually have to do is dig this up. Now what I've been doing now is our landscaper that we hired, Mike. One of the issues we had is all the rainwater from here flowed right down into here. So this was a massive erosion issue, which also caused that to fill up, which also caused the culvert to keep filling up. So he decided to dump half a truckload of rock. Sounded like a good idea at the time, but it really didn't fix anything. It just moved the erosion to over here. So because rock in Florida is not cheap, rock is money. So what I've been using is the backhoe to break up the dirt that's kind of hard packed, and then just basically picking up the rocks and throwing them in the bucket. That's probably about the 6th or 7th load of rock I've gotten. So it only takes, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes once you break up all the dirt, hop down in there, throw those rocks up in there, and I don't know, get your cardio workout, I guess. This is the other side of the ditch. This is what the other one kind of looked like, only it was even more steep. I tried to bush hog here, so you can see that it's about as well as you can bush hog it without falling into the ditch. So we're going to continue sloping that at a nice gradual slope from up there, which is where it comes from the road. The culvert's going to be raised up. And then what happens is that the rainwater will continue to come down here, because we do get some rain water in this ditch, but eventually flows into the pond. Now the pond is the tricky part, I guess, because I don't really know what I'm doing. But either way, it's still pretty level, and it's almost already sloped pretty good here. So there's not a lot that's got to go on down here. So it's just kind of continue it to make sure that it keeps doing what it's doing. But then there is a drop right here. That drop right there is where I just don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll probably just try and slope it a little bit. Then the water goes into the pond right there. So see how this turns out. Got our weeping willow tree right here that we planted. Not the dog fennel in the front, but the tree in the background. But that's what we're trying to work on, trying to get this done just in case that tropical storm or hurricane comes this way next week. That way there's a place for water to go, and also that culvert doesn't get buried. Fast forward to next morning where it's a little bit cooler. Say we've almost got it dug up. Obviously our water line, because our city water comes from way up here. That's where the house is gonna go. The hydrant there, water came across here, and that's our city water line going down to the barn. you can see how much dirt is normally in this culvert. So this side of the culvert was just under halfway filled with dirt. The other side had absolutely no dirt to, I don't know, maybe an inch. So when the people we bought it off of put this in, this end was higher than that end, which it should be the opposite. So another reason we had to move it. Again, with this storm ditch, I don't even know if we're going to need the culvert. If we do, we might even need a smaller one. But you know, if we don't need it, then we've got a culvert for another use another time. But it's a pretty good sized culvert. So if anything, it's going to be right near the surface, and then it'll start sloping at a larger grade towards the pond. But we got a log propped up underneath that to leave it propped up. Been using tow straps and the bucket of the backhoe to raise it up out of the dirt. So it's almost done, I think. And the way the weather forecast looks, we're still, you know, like 5 days out, but we are sort of in the path, I guess, of this hurricane. I'd say in the middle of the cone, but still 5 days out. So if we were to get a lot of rain, and if what we've seen in the past isn't what happens during the hurricane, this could really wash out. And if we didn't get rid of the culvert, again, it would have been buried due to the depth of that. And I have a feeling once it's full of dirt, there's really no way to dig that thing out without getting a fire hydrant and blasting the dirt out of it. I don't see any other way, but I don't know. So it makes sense to get it done now. Once this is done, we just got to push in the dirt, let Mother Nature do its work during the tropical storm. We'll see what kind of grade we got, and put the culvert back in after the storm. So here we are trying to lift it. Bucket. It's almost got it. Now try it back. Stop. All right. Stop real quick because I could either film it or tell her what to do, and half the time there's a string of profanities. Not at her, but just the situation. But Emily's dug this thing up by herself as far as with the backhoe and pulling it out. All I've done is help with the shovel, so it's finally loose. And we pull it out of the way and start pushing the dirt in, and let's see what the storm's going to do.